Welcome back, hyenas, to the Brainrot Iceberg. I finally managed to find one of these iceberg-like images that is close enough to the sorts of internet culture that I actually talk about on this channel, so we can finally do an iceberg video. And as ironic as I understand it is, because I have been bitching about the format of iceberg memes on my Twitter for like several years at this point, I do actually need to kind of explain this in case you somehow still don't know how an iceberg works. A, this isn't actually an iceberg, it's just a list of things. And B, the concept is that you should recognize almost everything in this image, and if you don't worry, that's why I'm here. This is the iceberg image we're going to be taking a look at today. And I'm sure some of you guys are thinking, Sumet, an iceberg is supposed to have 5 or 6 levels, getting more and more difficult to understand the lesser known things near the bottom. And I would argue to you that most people don't know anything about any of the iceberg videos they're watching. It might as well just be a big list of you may or may not know it. And that's exactly what this one is. In my opinion, iceberg. And B, the reason that these things have been put onto this iceberg is because they're all some sort of internet brain rot terminology. However, as we go further through this video, I think you'll come to find that almost every single one of these have either come from some sort of viral clip or TikTok or memes within themselves, which makes it perfect for us to dissect. The first bit of brain rot states, just put the bags in the fries, bro. I am on the first entry. How did I mess this up? The first entry is just put the fries in the bag, bro, which is a bit of an insulting response to somebody who states that they haven't seen you in a while. The original post is something to the tune of, whoa, I haven't seen you from high school. And you're sort of like dismissing any sort of conversation that they might be trying to interject by stating, just put the fries in the bag, bro. Like, A, I don't have time for this. B, even if I did have time for this, I don't want to talk to you. You're from a part of my past that I would rather not remember. And C, even going so far as to imply that you're working at a McDonald's or a Wendy's or something and I'm above speaking to you, which is a weirdly synchronized insult in just a simple line of, just put the fries in the bag, bro. J.D. Vance couch refers to Donald Trump's presidential running mate J.D. Vance, in which there was this viral tweet that stated that J.D. Vance had written a memoir in which he stated he had had sex with a couch. So many people ran with this concept, even making photoshopped images to look like excerpts from that memoir, that even went as far as to state that J.D. Vance was at his wedding with 4 other dudes as his groomsmen, and every single one of them had had sex with this couch, and the memes just sort of exploded from there, despite the fact that this didn't actually happen, it just caught wind super quick. I did a whole video about this a couple weeks ago. Aura is simply the energy surrounding a person. It is general purpose internet slang. It's something that you just say to refer to somebody's energy, the atmosphere around them. You can think of like the Super Saiyan flames around somebody as aura. More and more often I see this referred to as people just saying that somebody has aura, which in my opinion can just be replaced with words like Riz. Saying somebody has aura simply means somebody has confidence, professionalism, sportsmanship. It kind of means anything, but it's generally always positive. Bro, as you can probably guess, means bro, and is used to refer to people like you would the word bro, but replaces the letter B with the letter V to stand for very rare, which is a reference to the music group and collaboration between XXXTentacion and Ski Mask the Slump God from apparently as early as 2015. It was actually most likely popularized by XXXTentacion's breakout hit, Look at Me, in which he states, she kicked me out, I'm like, bro. Big Justice actually refers to the Costco guys, which I have also done a video about, and you guys are probably aware of this one. I think it's one of the more popular ones on the list from recent memory. Big Justice is actually the stage name of the dad from the Costco guys. The main son that you see with the big eyebrows is known as AJ, and yeah, it's the Costco guys. These two grew to success as the Costco guys by making TikToks recreating all of the things that they do as people who enjoy visiting Costco, and have been making so much content lately that they have actually got an entire cinematic universe where they've got music deals and promotions. They've got a ton of other reoccurring characters. The entire family is a part of the skit. The Costco guys are no longer just the Costco guys. It's like an entire thing now. They're gonna get a TV show at some point. I promise you. Gamer Subs is actually not on this iceberg, but don't let that stop you from saving 10% on whatever you buy using my link in the description. It's icy cold. That's not one of their catchphrases. Hawktua, of course, refers to the Hawktua girl by the name of Haley Welch, a girl who was interviewed on the street for one of those millions of forgettable on-the-street interviews where people go up to attractive females outside of bars and just ask promiscuous questions hoping to get clicks on the internet. And get clicks on the internet they did when they interviewed Haley and asked her what makes men go crazy in bed, and she responded, "Oh, you got a hot tour, spit on that thing." She has since quit her job, moved to Los Angeles, is hired by a talent agency, and while I don't exactly know if she has been doing anything crazy other than a few interviews with the news and what have you, and the incredible amount of merch, I get the feeling that she's going to end up in a content house or a reality TV show or something. We're still on the precipice of what exactly is going to happen with Haktua. What the Sigma refers to a viral piece of audio that was released on TikTok sometime in early 2024 that basically had what seems to be an AI version or somebody doing an impression of Squidward from SpongeBob SquarePants saying the phrase, what the Sigma? Sigma, of course, is a truncation of the phrase Sigma male, which is its own meme of people using things like Christian Bale and other things that you can look up to be the ultimate male, the alpha male, the Sigma male, as it were. The popularization of that meme has turned Sigma into its own phrase that has seen numerous uses across the internet, and at this point has just become a bit of internet brain rot, as it were. What the Sigma just being an extension of that.
Literally stop sending me voice messages because they're not funny, actually.
What the Sigma?
That's That Me Espresso refers to the song Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. It is nothing more than just a lyric out of the song, although that song being one of the bigger hits from a breakout artist, it became numerous with people just saying That's That Me Espresso, as it was an incredibly catchy tune, and I can absolutely see how people were just saying it over and over again to the point where it just became brain rot terminology. Ray Gun refers to Rachel Gunn, the very popular Australian breakdancer who put on a hell of a performance at the Olympics that was promptly completely ridiculed by everybody online for being objectively awful, scoring a 0 across the board, and even led to numerous people looking into how she even managed to qualify into the Olympics, to varying success of discovering whether or not her husband, who was the head of the board of some sort of breakdancing affiliation, and whether or not he had any say in the competition that she would have to face in the qualifiers, and whether or not there was some sort of big cover-up. The jury's still out on whether or not anything nefarious happened to end up with Rachel Gunn ending up at the Olympics, but one thing is still true: having the nickname of Ray Gun was kind of clever. Yapping, or to yap, means to talk, generally used as a dismissive meaning to somebody who's talking a little too much or oversharing, i.e. yapping. According to KnowYourMeme.com, the phrase yap obviously grew in popularity on TikTok like many of the words we're talking about in early 2023. However, the origins of the word yap have been used in rap culture as early as the late 90s. In fact, I remember many lyrics of, I think, Jay-Z saying something to the tune of "shut your yap" to refer to your mouth, which is the thing you use to do the yapping. Jelking refers to a massage technique that has been advised as something that men can do to increase the size and look of their penis. The idea is basically that you grip your member at one end and then just sort of stretch it like you're straightening out a snake or something. And much like the idea that working out creates micro tears in your muscles, thus making them larger, which I think is also not true, by the way, the act of jelking is designed to create micro tears in your member that, when healed, will then make it look larger. According to KnowYourMeme.com, jelking has been around on men's health forums and what have you as early as the late 90s. However, as far as I can tell, it's always been considered a meme. I do know that a few people have stated that they have jelked for years and have seen improvements, which I think is crazy, by the way. But for the most part, nobody considers this to be actual science or something that will work. Know Your Meme states that it's a technique that has probably been around for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Evidently, the practice was popular in as early as the ancient Sudanese tribes in the Middle East, which is nuts. Brat Summer refers to Charli XCX's latest album, Brat. The bright green album cover and the hyper-pop vibe of the girls' anthem that released earlier this summer has then led to memes about Brat Summer, leading to people posting aesthetic videos of their lifestyle and their outfits in order to live the ideal hyper-pop girly lifestyle in what we are currently living in, which is Brat Summer. The millennial pause is a simple but rather interesting little bit of cultural phenomenon that has grew in popularity because of TikTok. It refers to the slight pause that seemingly all millennials make when recording a video of themselves. Generally, it will be something to the tune of pressing the record button and then having to take a second to make sure that your camera's focused or that you're in frame or just to get your words together. But in every single one of these situations, unlike Vine, where people would record themselves very quick and fast-paced because they only had 6 seconds to speak, with TikTok and Instagram Reels and stories giving people upwards of a minute to say whatever they want to, it seems more and more millennials have found themselves hitting the record button and then pausing for a second before speaking about whatever they want to, resulting in the millennial pause. I actually find myself doing this every time I hit the record button, but you can't tell because I edit all of that out, because why would you want half a second of me saying nothing? But it gets the microphone warmed up and ready, it lets my camera focus on my eyes. I mean, I feel like I do it as like a filmmaking technique, but who would have known it's because I was born in the 90s? The Rizzler refers to a couple of things. The most notable and the most recent is a reoccurring new character in the Costco Guys cinematic universe, another one of whom I think is AJ's friends, by the name of the Rizzler. More generally speaking, however, it uses the word Riz, which as we all know is a shortening of the word charisma, used to refer to people who have charisma. You can state somebody has Riz, or that your Riz is goated, or to go Riz up that girl in an effort to go talk to somebody in an effort to make a friendship or romantic encounter. To say that somebody has Riz or is good with their charisma, you could refer to one as the Rizzler. Gen Z Boss in a Mini refers to a viral clip taken from Instagram stories in which a cubicle of a group of young millennial women all came together to make a little bit of a joke in which they all rhythmically interpreted some sort of piece of clothing that they had and an aspect of themselves and made a little bit of a song that was met with a tremendous amount of attention and an incredible amount of cringe online. Basically, everybody remembered how catchy the tune was, despite the fact that the last thing they wanted was for it to be bouncing around in their head. Gen Z Boss in a Mini. Gen Z Boss in a Mini. Skibbity is unfortunately a word that is probably more popular than anything else on this list, but unfortunately doesn't really have a great true definition. We can show that the popularization of this probably came from the source filmmaker videos on YouTube titled Skibbity Toilet, most popularized for having a head in a toilet, and was then used as a word to kind of mean anything and nothing at the same time. It really is just kind of a place filler. Skibbity baps, skibbity dance, skibbity whatever. If you throw the word skibbity in anything, you can basically guarantee that it came from TikTok or Roblox or one of your annoying fucking kids that won't stop drooling all over your leg asking if you have games on your phone. It's one of those. Google says that generally speaking, children and teens will use the word skibbity to refer to something as bad or cool depending on the context, which in my opinion is the definition of a word that means nothing. Looks maxing is one example of taking a word and adding the word maxing to the end of it, which comes from the phrase in gaming min-maxing, referring to minimum and maximum. When you say you're min-maxing something in a video game, it means that you're trying to do something as optimally as possible. If you're trying to min-max in a video game, it means that you're trying to get a desired outcome as efficiently as possible. It doesn't just mean I'm gonna min-max fishing in old school RuneScape, meaning you're gonna fish all day. No, you're going to do it as efficiently as possible because you're min-maxing. To add maxing to the end of any other word means that you're doing the same thing. You're making an effort to acquire a desired result as efficiently as possible. Looks maxing, as a result, means that you're trying to do things that make you look good. It seems silly, but let's be honest, what video are you watching right now? Looks maxing means you're doing something to look better. Why are you wearing that Gengar keychain, Sumito? Why are you wearing Essentials Fear of God t-shirt in a video that's gonna get 400 views, Sumet? I'm trying to looks max, okay? I'm trying to be attractive. I don't want people making fun of my wife because her YouTuber husband isn't looks maxing, you know what I mean? KnowYourMeme.com has a few other examples that make sense, such as status maxing, which could be like trying to get to the highest position at your job, as well as more comical ones like clown maxing, which is, I'm assuming, wearing oversized shoes and scaring children everywhere you go. Very demure, very mindful refers to a TikTok created by user Juliani, in which she's sitting in her car talking about the makeup look and general aesthetic she has going into work, stating, "Do you see my hair? My makeup? Very demure, very mindful." The phrase demure basically just means subtle, low-key, understated, and it's just her referring to the fact that she tries to keep everything about her appearance professional, as opposed to not being demure and being, I don't know, loud and overstated. The way that she says the phrase, very demure, very mindful, has since become a bit of brain rot as people continue to say it, much like every other piece of earworm terminology has just seeped its way into people's vocabulary. Everybody on the internet is now using the phrase very demure, very mindful. The gritty is a dance that I am literally hitting right now. It was popularized by Louisiana State University football team that would use it as a celebration every time they scored a touchdown. After it was added to Fortnite, it was only going to be a matter of time before you started to see everybody and their moms start to hit the gritty. Nowadays, you'll see memes of people literally hitting the gritty while set to the song Right Foot Creep by NBA Youngboy. Freaky means exactly what you think it does. It was a bit recontextualized on the internet to mean something associated with sex, but even before it was recontextualized in that manner, it still kind of just meant something that had to do with sex. My opinion, this became popular with this image of Freak Bob calling somebody on an iPhone, and the title is usually like, "Yo, I am not answering this shit." But the word freak and freaky has now been used in a number of different places on the internet, just as a little bit of a way to spice something up. The Freak Burger. I'm about to break it down freaky style. Just use the word freak and you'll be on your way. Exist in the context refers to a viral clip of presidential candidate Kamala Harris stating, "Do you think you just fell out of a coconut tree?" and then breaking into kind of a weird laughter before stating, "You exist within the context of everything that existed before you," or something to that tune. Because this is an American presidential candidate, pretty much anything that they say that is out of the ordinary is just sort of taken and turned into a meme or a copy pasta that people will repeat over and over again. I don't exactly want to say there was a ton of example of this, but whatever, it's on the list. Chalant is actually kind of a fun one. It refers to the word nonchalant, which means subtle, humble, understated, very demure, if I say so myself. It is one of the few words in the English language that starts with the word non, but doesn't actually have an opposite word. Non-flammable, non-digestible. If you take away the word non, you have another word, like flammable or digestible. But chalant is not a word, only nonchalant. So the internet took this opportunity to start using the word chalant, even though it doesn't mean anything. Oh, to be chalant in a nonchalant world. Glazing is a slang term that is used on the internet to refer to dick riding or complimenting somebody, so much so to the point where it seems cringe and unnecessary. Calling somebody a glazer or saying that somebody is glazing somebody else is generally referring to somebody who is being too much of a fanboy and giving too much kudos to what 9 times out of 10 is LeBron James. The phrase glazing in itself also has sexual undertones. If I were to refer to the Karma Sutra, I'm sure there is some method of glazing that has got to do with man's sperm, and I guess there is some sort of context here where glazing could refer to you coming from being so enthralled by this other individual, but I don't actually know if that's where it comes from. No Chick-fil-A sauce doesn't actually mean anything. It comes from a viral TikTok of somebody who worked at Chick-fil-A who had a bit of an unusual demeanor and was sort of absolutely gobsmacked at the idea that this customer didn't want any Chick-fil-A sauce and then responded, "No Chick-fil-A sauce?" I want to say that this doesn't belong on the list because I don't feel like it's something that has widespread use. However, I was walking through DC for the Cherry Blossom Festival with my wife sometime earlier last year, and there was a random millennial running around with their friend, and one of them did say no Chick-fil-A sauce, so maybe I'm out of touch. Freak Bob is an entry I probably should have read of before using it as an example for when we looked at Freaky earlier, but it refers to this image of SpongeBob calling you, titled Freak Bob. Why did you put him in your contacts like that? Level 5 gyat is a 2-part piece of brain rot. The word gyat refers to the backside of someone's posterior, or I guess the front side if you're looking at them from the back. Anyway, it means ass. It comes from the phrase "goddamn," which if you kind of say over and over starts to sound like "yacht damn," and has since just kind of been truncated down to "gyat," and the expression, which was generally used to refer to somebody with a fat ass, now just means a fat ass. To say somebody has a level 5 gyat is kind of just making fun of mobile game ads where they would have a level 1 hobo and then eventually he would level up to become a level 100 CEO. It isn't always clear whether or not level 5 is high or low, but generally speaking, if somebody says there is a level 5 gyat, I don't know, use your discretion as to whether or not that's worth peeking over your shoulder. Together, the phrase level 5 gyat actually refers to a video of a man saying a tremendous amount of brain rot all in sequence, much like how I'm doing in this video, except somehow slightly more comprehensible.
Level 5 got Riz, Livy done rizzing up baby Gronk, Ice Spice what the dog doing, Skibbity Toilet in real life only in Ohio, We Go Jim's creatine alpha sigma.
BBL Drizzy refers to a beat that was made by Metro Boomin in a competition for anybody to rap over it to win a free beat from him. This beat was released in the midst of the big rap feud between Kendrick Lamar and Drake, which at this point seemed to have settled just a little bit, but for almost all of last year, it was all anybody was talking about. Drake would go on to sample this BBL Drizzy beat to use in his own song with Sexy Red, and then I don't know if anybody actually ended up winning anything from this, but the beat happened. Chat is just a phrase used to refer to Twitch chat. It is something that live streamers will say when gaming to refer to the entire collective of people watching them stream as chat. As time has gone on, chat has become ubiquitous with simply referring to an online audience of any capacity. Whether you're a streamer or a YouTuber, a content creator or not, sometimes it's just funny to refer to your group of friends as chat. Pookie is a cute nickname used to refer to someone with a term of endearment. It is much like any other pet name you might refer to your girlfriend or your spouse. It found its origins in 1960s, according to KnowYourMeme.com, and while was repopularized on TikTok and the internet with ironic memes like this one, just using it to be a little bit quirky, it still effectively means the same thing. It is synonymous with any other pet name you might have for your girlfriend or your wife, like sweetheart or pumpkin, or if you're my wife, it's synonymous with words like dumbass and do the dishes. Turkish Olympic shooter refers to exactly that. The Turkish Olympic shooter who went viral after his performance at the Olympics, where he showed up with no special gear, no special eyewear, unlike many other competitors who were wearing special eyewear and had special gear, and managed to take home a silver medal despite showing up half naked, basically. The phrase Turkish Olympic shooter doesn't mean anything else, although it did have its spotlight in meme culture for a bit. I did a whole video about it, but I guess it is kind of funny sounding if you just keep saying Turkish Olympic shooter, so whatever, call it brain rot if you want to. Bear or man refers to a bit of a viral question or a situation in which one TikToker stated that she found herself more comfortable with a random wild bear than she would a random man, talking about all the situations where she would find herself uncomfortable around men in society versus sometimes she feels like she would just take her chances with a random bear. Obviously, this spread a tremendous amount of discourse about misogyny and the average men's impressions on women in public. It came to a little bit of a counter meme where some women would post things along the lines of, would your man do this for you? Would he buy you this? Would he do that for you? Only to be met with comments with men commenting something along the lines of, why don't you go ask the bear for all of this since you would pick one of them over us? Low tapered fade refers to a relatively popular style of haircut that's also just kind of funny to say. There are a few different memes that have deviated using the phrase low taper fade, one of which is just multiple anime characters giving other anime characters low tapered fades in a barbershop. The other one is a misheard song lyric that goes something to the tune of, what if Ninja had a low tapered fade? Mogged or mogging basically refers to showing off to somebody in a way where you appear more physically, attractively, taller, or whatever. If you've looks maxed to the point where you look better than somebody, then that means you can look mog them, which isn't, I don't even know if that's a real phrase, but that's how you use it. KnowYourMeme.com has a number of different examples here. There's height mogging, jaw mogging, hair mogging, age mogging, chin mogging. Take a noun, stick the word mog in front of it, and if yours is better than somebody else's, then simply by appearing next to them, you can say you chin mogged them. The most famous example of this, despite the fact that this meme dates as back as the early 2000s on like bodybuilding forums, is this one very viral tweet of a woman just sort of squatting in front of people in the background stating, "I just butt-mogged some Zoomers this morning," which is weird, to say the least. Ohio is a state in the United States and finds its place in meme culture as one of the weirdest places in all of United States, at least as far as the internet is concerned. There are a number of different memes that have their origin in Ohio. There are a number of different memes that simply use Ohio as its basis for something weird or otherworldly. If something is bad, people can refer to it as Ohio. I have done an entire video just talking about Ohio memes, but that's the gist of it. Onika Burger is the first meme on this list that I have literally never heard of at all, completely off of my radar, so at the very least it feels like we're getting to the lower parts of the iceberg, no? Onika Burger refers to a viral tweet in which somebody stated that she equals Onika and 8 equals burger. Which is, it's kind of complicated to explain this. Onika is the first name of rapper female artist Nicki Minaj. And this person is basically taking the reply before it stating why she ate, and then saying she equals Onika, meaning Nicki Minaj, and 8 equals burgers, recontextualizing the phrase to state that Nicki Minaj eats burgers in a weird roundabout way to say that she feels like Nicki Minaj is getting fat. A number of other people started to use this sort of formula to just take another tweet and say this word equals that word to completely change up the sentence to something else, which I guess we now have to refer to as an Onika burger. Unk is the shortened form of the word uncle, used as either an insult or a term of an endearment to refer to an older male counterpart, and depending on the context can either be good or bad. To say somebody has unk status is basically just calling somebody older than you, and you can use that to say that somebody is unk or has unk status to say that they are wiser and more knowledgeable about whatever it is that you're talking about. But I have also heard people just be like, yeah, okay, unk, to refer to somebody as being out of touch and being so old that they don't even understand what they're talking about anymore. But in either sense, it's uncle. Kai Cenat is a Twitch streamer and content creator, one of the biggest on the internet at the moment. His name is a little bit funny to say. He is sort of popular outside of the fact that his name is Kai Cenat for all of the guest stars and the big gaming marathons that he does on his stream, but Kai Cenat, the words in themselves, is just sort of funny sounding and therefore is a bit of brain rot terminology. Half because people will string it together with skibbity riz and the rest of the words, and half because just saying his name feels repetitive at this point because he's in the headlines so much online. It feels like everybody's saying Kai Cenat, whether they're trying to make brain rot or not. Brain rot or not would be a great game show. To my knowledge, there doesn't seem to be any sort of TikTok brain rot terminology surrounding lover girl. I think this is just in reference to memes using the phrase. Lover boy, however, could be referring to Certified Lover Boy, the album dropped by Drake that was met with critical mid, but I think this is just referring to the soft aesthetic of being a lover girl or a lover boy. But again, no memes to back this one up. I don't know where they got this. Clip that is a phrase that is generally said by Twitch streamers when they're live streaming a video game, referring to something intense that just happened in the moment. Viewers are able to clip a section of the stream that will save that isolated 15-30 seconds as its own video so that they can share it on other social medias. These are generally the clips that you will see on TikTok, Instagram, or what have you. As a result, the phrase clip that can just be used whenever you have an MLG Pro moment, when something exciting happens on your stream. You can just be like, clip that, clip that, clip that, and it's like, oh, something hype just happened. Glycine is a sweetening product used in industrial, pharmaceutical, and food applications. It first grew in popularity thanks to the company Dongwon Jilong in China that started to make TikToks talking about their industrial-produced glycine, advertising it as if it was just some off-the-shelf cosmetic product that any person could buy, when in reality it was things you would buy by the hundreds in order to create industrial goods. It began to take off in popularity as other TikTokers started to make videos talking about how much they loved the glycine from Dongwon Jilong, acting as if they were buying this industrial product that was being marketed to them as if it was something you could just buy on Amazon. Fun fact, after I made my video talking about glycine from Dongwon Jilong, they sent me a whole care package with a thank you note, some free hats, some t-shirts. I love glycine. I'm a glycine girly. Costco, guys, is a thing that we have already talked about a few times in this video. It is a TikTok account, Instagram, Twitter at this point, that follows Big Justice, the dad, AJ, the son, and a few other reoccurring characters that started out with them making videos in Costco that all started with, where Costco dies, we do blank, and just talking about how much they love the food court, the Costco aesthetic, very Americanized thing that is now currently active right now, branched off into its own little family-friendly comedy skits. W strat is just a combination of two little bits of slang. W means to take a W as opposed to an L. That just means that something is a win versus a loss. So if you say something is a W, it's like, yes, we succeeded, or just, hey, that was a good thing that happened. Strat is short for strategy, so to say W strat basically just boils down to good idea. Jai Fei refers to the name given to the female profile picture that many people would find on TikTok, using this attractive female profile picture to sell you products through the TikTok shop. The name Jai Fei came from the idea that this image that they used, the profile picture, this woman was an amalgamation of two different K-pop stars, Wang Fei Fei and Mang Jae, photoshopped together. But according to KnowYourMeme.com, it was revealed later in October 2023 that it's just some other Chinese model. This is just a real picture that people thought was two K-pop stars fused together. So this Jai Fei name was given to spam bot accounts that would use attractive female figures as their profile picture and would just post images and videos of people using household products in an effort to try to sell it to you. Not really a meme, but a funny sounding name, Jai Fei. Clean girl refers to the clean girl aesthetic, a sort of lookbook aesthetic or vibe that was indicative of women that were straight hair, hoop earrings, clean, skinny, traditionally Western looking attractive values. The phrase clean girl kind of doesn't refer to anything, but the phrase clean girl aesthetic is something that was popularized along with other lookbooks like emo, punk, goth, and whatever. However, this was more so in the days of like post-social media detox, where people were trying to show off looks, lifestyles, and aesthetics that were a little bit less about showing it off on the internet. And I think clean girl is sort of emblematic of that. Again, not really a meme, and I would argue not even really brain rot, but I guess if you have a friend circle that's constantly saying, I'm a clean girl, it can feel that way. Coconut tree is just the other half of that Kamala Harris speech that started with, you exist within the context of blank and blank. It's the same meme. Phantom Tax refers to Kai Cenat's streaming partner Phantom. Phantom Tax itself started as a phrase that was used with Phantom constantly showing up to the streamers' rooms whenever they had ordered food, and then taking some of it, a tax if you were. Phantom Tax then grew in popularity as one of the bigger bits of brain rot terminology. Now just sort of, it's still used in that same way, at least it should be, but it has very much delved into the realm of just one of those words that people say because it sounds zillennial. Mewing refers to a tongue exercise where you press your tongue against the roof of your mouth, which according to some people over the course of time doing this exercise can reshape the shape of your face to make it so that your jawline is more prominent. People do exaggerated versions of this whenever they're taking pictures or trying to rizz somebody up on TikTok, which has led to mewing being, you sort of like point to your jawline and you kind of do the mew face. It's become a meme in its own right. Obviously, it doesn't happen overnight, and it isn't necessarily supposed to be something that is done to make your face look more attractive in isolated pictures, more so that it is a long-term development, but it's the internet. None of that matters. Locked in is a phrase that definitely existed outside of the internet era and just means to focus, concentrate, hyperfixate on whatever it is you're doing at the moment. Obviously, it is very popular in gaming culture. You'll hear people say things along the lines of, all right, I'm about to lock in. Boys, it's time to lock in, which basically means drop the shenanigans, focus up, we have to start going serious. I want to say the phrase might come from cage fighting, since you get locked in a cage and then like it's go time, but I don't think that's true. I think I'm just making stuff up. Group leader in meme culture, to my knowledge, comes from a viral tweet where somebody tweeted out, when you meet his friend group and he is not the leader. Basically, some female on the internet showing off the fact that she does not appreciate being in a relationship with a man who has a group of friends where he is not the most alpha sigma male among them. This led to a number of people posting memes about not being the group leader of their friend group and then having to overcompensate in one way or another so that their girlfriend doesn't get the ick. Edging originated from the sexual act of masturbating or pleasuring yourself to the brink of climax but not quite finishing, and then repeating that action to enter a state of heightened sexual arousal. Bringing yourself to the edge but not going over is the main takeaway here. And while people do still use the word edging to mean exactly that sexual context online to this day, it is also used in a number of other humorous ways to refer to something coming to the edge but not quite going over, like filling a water up to the top but not quite spilling and then saying, oh, I'm edging my water cup, that sort of thing. Edging is typically used alongside words like gooning, which has a similar but not quite as specific definition. Gooning is just the act of masturbating a lot, or really going over the top with 6 monitors and 40 sex dolls and a vacuum sucking operator. When you have a whole lot of stuff going on to try to enhance your ability to jerk it, you're gooning. The word cooked has a number of different uses on and off the internet, all of which I think do see some success and are used pretty popularly online. Used as a verb, if you cook somebody, it is usually referring to the fact that you have made fun of them or roasted them in some capacity. It can also mean that you dominated them in a sporting event or a gaming session if you cooked someone. If you say someone is cooked, it generally means that they're past their prime or not as good as they used to be. I see this a lot with people who aren't as good as video games or in sporting events. If somebody isn't performing the way that they did back when they were the GOAT, you can say they're cooked. And then obviously the verb cooking or to cook, let me cook, who let him cook, is basically the verb saying that you had an idea, you have an idea, and it doesn't seem like it's going to pan out. If you say let me cook, it's like I got this, but not I got this in everybody knows I got this. It's like what I'm about to do isn't going to seem like it's going to work, but I've got an idea, let me cook. Similarly, the phrase, who let him cook, is to show dismay at the fact that we let somebody else try to execute on their idea, and bro did not cook at all. Galvanized square steel refers to a unhinged home design TikTok account that would basically use 3D models to try and showcase how somebody could fit, 3 bunk beds and a garage into their 80 square foot apartment simply by reconstructing the entire area for max utilization using nothing more than galvanized square steel and eco-friendly wood veneers. Obviously, the repetitive use of the phrase galvanized square steel and eco-friendly wood veneers would find its use in meme culture because those are just funny sounding words. The account itself is also comical in nature because obviously some of the designs would be just completely impractical, but despite this, they continue to showcase how you can fit 14 children in 117 square feet thanks to the magic of galvanized square steel. And believe it or not, we're done. That is every single one of these Brainrot TikTok phrases completely explained to the best of my knowledge. I did my best to try to get through the entirety of this list without looking up too much, just as a test to see how well in tune I am with TikTok Brainrot. So if a bit of these things aren't perfectly correct because I had to do a bit of Googling really quickly, my apologies. I'm not Wendy Goon. I'm not an expert in this Iceberg format. But I thank you all the same for making it to the end of this video, and I hope you learned a little bit. As I stated through most of this video, I have a ton of videos on my channel covering a lot of these memes, and I make videos basically every day trying to cover as much internet culture and memes that you see end up on lists like this all the same. And so if that's something that you might enjoy after watching this entire video, if I might be so bold, please subscribe if you want to see me in your inbox more often. A big shout out to the patrons in the back. Thank you so much for making this show possible, and I will catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.